Hello, and welcome to my virtual reality technical presentation. I'm Nestor Casillas, and today we're just going to go ahead and go through the basics of virtual reality. So, what is virtual reality, or rather VR? Well, defined by Webster, it is an artificial environment which is experienced through sensory stimuli such as sights and sounds provided by a computer, and in which one's actions partially determine what happens in the environment. So that's pretty technical wording. Basically, it's interacting with the virtual space or just pretty much a digital environment other than the one that we're currently experiencing from our own perspective. The first official virtual reality headset was created in 1968. It was made by Professor Ivan Sutherland and student Bob Sproul, his apprentice basically. So what was the first machine to use VR? Well, mentioned previously, it was the VR headset that was created by the professor and the student. There were many other machines that were attempted to be created before that. The idea even was created early as the 1860s in stories and in 1938, where a user looks through another life with virtual reality goggles. More machines that were more complete or more recent than that was the Sensorama. A scientist or an inventor actually who was into cinematography wanted to bring a more complete cinematic experience. So it was another headset basically, and that was created in 1957, as well as the Headsight, which was created in 1961, which was a headset that was used in the military for training. The machines that followed the actual first machine that was successfully created was the Aspen Movie Map. It was a virtual tour that took you through Aspen, Colorado. The VPL Research Group also created VR headsets and gloves. And then in Atari, they created 3D technology, which they implemented in their gaming. The following are pictures of what I was just talking about in terms of the inventions. The left is the Sensorama. It was basically you put your head in that machine, and it was pretty much a box that displayed different colors and spectrums of light. The second picture, or the middle picture, was the Atari headset. This one's a bit more recent, but this was the 1994 Jaguar headset. And the right picture is the headset that was used by the military. Next, we're going to take a look at modern day VR, 2010 to the present. Modern day VR has many machines, softwares that are available. They consist of the Google Street View that was created in 2010. This is pretty much your Google Earth or your Google Maps. Oculus Rift came out with a prototype in 2012. And then in 2014, as well as the creation of Project Morpheus, Sony's first VR headset, Mark Zuckerberg was actually interested in Oculus Rift, so he bought out the company for $2 billion. There are only a few examples. A lot of modern uses are going to be for training, military, movies, journalism, gaming, and much more. So the left picture is your Google Street View. This is showing your Google Earth. The top right is the Sony VR Project Morpheus headset. The bottom right picture is your Oculus Rift prototype. This is a graph that's showing the job growth in VR during modern years. Well, this one's more technical. It's the red line that we're going to be focusing on. It's your professional, scientific, and technical services. You could see a sudden spike during 2014. I think this correlates to when Google bought the Oculus Rift for 2014. And then here in 2013, this is when it started gaining traction. AR, VR skills employer trend by year. Blue is Facebook. Once again, you could see the sudden projection growth where they begin to get interested in AR and VR. This is a CNBC virtual reality news bit. They talk about how it goes much more in depth in gaming. It's a very short video. If you're interested, I would recommend it. It's a cool clip. It talks about how it's going to go into the virtual reality job market is going to continue to grow, and what type of jobs that are going to be created, as well as the current statistics and how much money is going to be within that market. Finally, the possibilities of future VR. The following are predictions on how the future of VR will evolve. Gaming. A lot of people are saying there's going to be a virtual reality space where it encapsulates all 5 of your senses. Movies, it's going to be more than 3D films than your typical IMAX. It's going to be where you sit down and wear a headset and you're actually immersed within that 3D environment. Visiting places, the most typical uses is going to be your museum tours, where maybe they can recreate the experience for you, or Google Maps that might become more in depth, and open houses where you don't even have to leave your house in order to look at new homes if you're interested in that type of thing, or apartments. Surgery, this is given an interactive experience instead of working on real humans. Obviously the benefit would be like you don't have to work on somebody for the first time and scare the patient. Space exploration, a lot of companies such as NASA are just attaching cameras and sending them out into space. This will create an interactive environment as well. Teaching people to fly, you can practice without having the real aircraft and quality of life. You can interact with the digital environment without actually having to leave in the house. This is for like disabled people or people with certain diseases. And finally, my references. The top link is describing your definition of VR. The second was how it was invented. This was like the early part of the slides where I was talking about early to the 1960s uses. The third link is job growth. The fourth link is what the expectations are in the market as well. And then finally, the fifth one is how it's going to change the future. This has been my presentation. Thank you for listening.